Hello, this is Ken from the NA, and I've got two series of tutorials for the members of NA and for the board. The first one is about using what's called a sandbox site, and that's at nabwmt.info. .info, not .org. You need an email to be able to get on the site, and you should have a password that I sent on to you. If not, I can resend it. Anyway, once you've loaded up the site, you'll find it looks something like this. And here we go. We're going to log in now. And up comes the login screen. It's a login to WordPress, which is a content management system. A couple other people have already been assigned there, but we're going to put mine on there for the test one. I happen to have a password in there. And you got to do a little bit of math here. 4 plus 6 quickly. That's of course 10. And once we get that in there, we're going to log in. And up comes the main, what we call the dashboard here. And the dashboard is kind of the hub of where we'll be. And once that comes up, then you'll see, let's move the screen, a variety of commands over here. Little note if you're new to the site, but what it's doing is saying, go over to the publishing help if you need to. And you can do that. Otherwise, you can look at some of the options here. Here's some publishing help in case you just want to jump to a particular page. And here's a quick draft, and this will enable you to do pages and posts. And what are they? Well, there's a couple of differences. Let's go over to this slide, which I provided to the board. And on this slide, you'll see what we're going to do in a sequence of learning here is talk about the help section. We've just done that. We're going to try and do a simple draft from the dashboard and see the results from the visit site on the top left-hand symbol. And we need to tell you a little bit about what a post is and how that's different than pages. And we'll show you how to view your results on the home screen, nabwmt.info. After that, we're going to get on to a more complicated editing system. It's not that complicated. It's called Divi. That's a way of editing in various parts of the screen as opposed to a simple site. So let's remind you what we're going to do here. We're going to look at, first of all, a post. Well, let's find out what a post is and how that differs from a page. So let me pull up the next slide here, and this slide will help us understand. So once we look at pages and posts, we're going to go through this flow, as I said, and on the next slide, we'll give you differences between what are pages and what are posts. Posts are timely versus pages which are timeless. That's for information that is sticky and is directional, and they're different than posts. Posts are social, in fact. Pages are not usually. The posts can be categorized in terms of their content, and pages are just a time-based hierarchical system. Also, if you know anything about RSS and you have a blog or something like that, you can do that. Pages, you cannot do blogs or RSS feed. And the pages have a custom template feature normally. So let's take a look at our front page, and here's a thing that says edit your front page. So now this will bring up a series of information, and on this you'll see on the front page I've used this is the advanced Divi builder. We'll get to that in a moment, but for now we want to add a new page. That's over here. I'm clicking on this page and we should be able to get a new page. Very simple. On the page you're going to enter a title here, whatever you want to call it. Let's call it a test for the NA. And let's jump down here. You'll notice down here we have a space that has a simple editor. You can use text, and we're going to have the text here. Welcome to the board test page. All right, and of course you can highlight this, make it bold or italics. You can add many other things like a blink. I'm not going to go through that right now, but you can change the format of the text within that page. So this is, again, building a page by using a simple editor. And we can also change the color of the text. It's kind of cool. Once we've done that, let's take a look at the options available. And the option is, if you don't want to publish it, well, let's preview it. And that's what we're going to do right now. That preview will pull up a screen that matches what you'd see once you post this simple page. And you can see we're back to the sandbox. This is essentially what your login information is, and this is the general information. If you wanted to jump to the full site, you've seen this before, but now we've seen what we've got here is the test for NA. We just did that. So there you go. You've done the test of a simple edit page. So where do we go from here? We go back to the sandbox up here, and let's go back to the dashboard. We still have that page, but we haven't published it, so that's okay. We don't need to publish it. It was a test. All right, back to the next session. We've just added the pages and posts, and on this slide we remind you about that. Let's move it over so you can see the whole length of it. And I've described the simple editor on pages, and we'll do the same thing on posts. Well, it turns out on the post it's not too much of a problem. It's going to be the same as the page. Once you master the page, you've got the post. But what if you want to add information at different parts of the page? Well, we need to learn a few more things on this, and that's an advanced editor. So the advanced editor is going to look like this. Again, I'm going to, let's go to a page again, and we're going to make, in this case, a new page. Notice all the other pages are on here. This is one we just did. It was a draft, wasn't published. You can always go back and delete it. But for now, let's again add a new page, but this time we're going to use a more advanced edit, and here it is. We're going to use the Divi Builder, and when we click on that, you'll notice they have a number of things right here. These are the Divi Builder sections, and if you can see, it's laid out in this instance with blue and green and some gray. So what are these blue, greens, and gray? They're shown as rows and columns, like in a spreadsheet, but these are positions on the page. The blue is a major row, and within that row you've got some minor ones in green, and they can be edited, they can be copied, and they can be adjusted. So in order to do that, you'll need to know what this is. This is an editor for this blue section, and we'll give you the settings. This is a clone. Clone is, we'll copy this blue down below. Here's a green section, and in that green section we have another column. So where do you put the information? Well, in order to do that, you have to insert a column. And now we go to the column insertion tool, and you can see you have a variety of columns you can add in there. This is a full-length column on that page we're developing. Half and half, broken apart, third, third, third. Let's take the simple case, and you noticed we've loaded two sections, and now we have two gray sections. Well, okay, gray sections, and we're going to insert a module. Well, what's a module? Well, that's your text, audio, and much more types that you can add to these sections. Now remember, the modules are going to sit inside at the positional on the page, position on the page, that depends on where you are in the row or the column. So let's think. Let's click on this, and now you see a admittedly complicated list of things to do. We can add an audio, If we're a blogger, we add this. But maybe the most simple way of doing this is perhaps to see if we can find one that's just going to add, hopefully, I can find it, add a text in there. So I'm going to go down, and the simple text module is right here. Notice we're now getting this editing thing again. But before that, we're going to look at the text color. I recommend you have dark because the background on the info is light. So let's leave that and let's make it left oriented. And again, we're going to put some information in there. Off we go. Let's go and add it as this time a paragraph. Well, these are different headings. We're going to add that, kind of blocks it in. And let's center that perhaps. Now remember, we're centering in the middle of that part of the screen. So there we go. Let's see what else they do. Well, they give you an option of using visual, and I recommend you do that now unless you're familiar with, heaven forbid, HTML. You don't need that, so stay visual for right now. And now we're going to go down. You can't see below this recording, but right below this, I can't get down low enough. But trust me, there's a save and exit. We're exiting now this Divi Builder. And now you should see the familiar settings over here. Publish and preview. Before we preview, let's try another one. Make sure you keep saving as you go along. We're going to put in, let's put in an image in this one. And we could upload that image. I'm going kind of fast, but we're going to take Mark's picture here. Good old Mark. And we're going to set it inside there. And there's many other things we can do with this picture. No comments, please. And having done that, again, below this line here, we're going to save and exit. I've saved these two now. And guess what? Let's see what we're up to right now. We're going to preview this page. And that'll take a while to go through the database. And here we go. We've got a picture of Mark in there, in the center of that module. And the module breaks this column into two sections where we have a text and we have a page. Simple, right? So let me remind you of what we've done for this setup here, just in summary. And then if you feel confident with this, you can go on to not nabwmt.info, but .org, and off you go. Now when you do this, it's relatively straightforward and safe. I do have backups. It's really something you can do without any fear of losing information or messing things up. So we talked about how to get onto the site. You'll need, again, a particular setup in terms of email and password. We talked about a quick draft, what the difference is between pages and posts. We talked about pages, their type, and posts. We did a very simple edit using a simple page and published it. And then finally, we got a little more adventurous, and we decided to use the editor, the Divi Builder, for more complicated pages. And that's it. Hope you feel comfortable. Don't be afraid to call me on that or email me if you have questions. I'd love it if you guys got used to the sandbox and then went on to the major one. Thanks for listening.